Hey everyone, welcome back to Shelf Life Lego, and today we'll be doing something a little different. I've had some people ask me how I put in my crosswalks or how I make my crosswalks for my roads, so I thought I would tackle that today in a tutorial. Alright, to get started, you can pretty much use any kind of base plate. Here's obviously a road plate. I've used the T-junctions. I'm not sure, I've never tried the four-way stop sign one, but you can just use the regular base plates, that are covered with studs. Pretty much anything seems to work with this style, so we'll go ahead and get started. So I add my 1x2 Technic bricks. I put mine pretty much all the way to the corner. I just find it easier to connect when I'm putting all the different pieces of the city together. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And we'll add our 1x2s. And our 2x2s. Obviously the colors don't matter too much. They're going to be covered up by plates and tiles. Okay, and lastly for this side, we have to add some female connectors. This side down here will have your male connectors, and you build the brick layer across the road, and they will be held in place or anchored by these 1x2 Technic bricks. And again, color doesn't matter too much. So again, put these in. Again, we're 5 deep. Now you can have as many or as few as you want. I just have to have vital points anchored on both sides. All right, now down here, it's going to be 2 small curb areas or sidewalk areas with a parking space in between. So I'm going to do basically the same thing on this side, your 1x2 Technics. And then we're going to use a 2x2 and do the same thing over here on the other side. I actually forgot to add one of the female receptors, the 1x2 Technics up here. But then we'll start adding our male bricks down here, or where you're going to build the bricks off of the snot pieces, and just using 1x2 modifieds. So the only thing I'll say is I try to use bricks that are the same color as the road, just in case they show through. On the very edges, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but if you have them, I would use them. Over here, do the same thing. And then we're actually going to build in both the male and female for our parking spaces. And I'm using a 1x1 Technic, and then just another 1x2. So for my layout, the space between here and here is actually 18 bricks and 1 plate layer, and the same thing across here. And so for this area, I have it's 5 deep, and so I use 1x1 bricks and then the 1x4 bricks. And so I have 18 rows of that. Sometimes I use 1x2s and 1x3s. However you want to make 5, and it should span here. And lock it into place on both ends. So for this space, in this space, there are several different ways to do it, and honestly I do it depending on what bricks I have. For this side I'll do one way. It's just a stack of 2 plates in 1 tile, which is the same height. And so when you put in your plate, it shows, and so I want it to be the same color as the road. And then over here I did it a little bit differently. I just built more bricks and plates, and that should be covered on this side by the plate. So as long as it's covered, you're pretty much good with whichever way you want to do it. All right, now we'll build our curb sidewalk area. So we're going to start with a 2x4 plate and a 2x3 plate. And then we're going to use one of these, I guess, round plates, 3x3 round plate. And this area here is going to be our crosswalk. So we want a way for our minifigures to step down or walk down that's also accessible. So we'll use a 2x2 slope curve. And then we'll just tile it in. And then for the edge, we're using these, I guess they're called macaroni pieces. And one of these 1x1 wedges. And we just fill it in. So we have a nice little area for our minifigs to access the crosswalk, but we also have a nice little curb here that defines between the road and the sidewalk. So I'll go ahead and fill in this other side. Now this side doesn't have a crosswalk, so I don't need that same drop down. So this side is done. So this next portion you can do however you prefer. I prefer to have a dotted line to mark that it's parking. So I just typically add 2 layers. There's a layer of gray and then white to mark as like the street markings. And then the way mine is measured out, it's 5 plates in from the side, and then I skip to another 1x2, 1x2 gray, 1x2 white, and so on, all the way across the parking. So when you have it in place, the parking is clearly marked. So as I said, the space between one side of the road and the other is 18 bricks and 1 plate. So we're going to enter our crosswalk. So we'll start off with a 1x2 plate. And then we're just going to add 18 of these 1x2 profile bricks. Obviously any color that you prefer. And then lock it into the female end. Push it down, and there you go. And the same thing with the crosswalk line. 18 bricks and 1 plate. So we start off with our 1 plate in white. And then you can use 18 bricks, but that gets kind of expensive. So I typically use a 1x1x3. And then I use 3 of these 1x1x5s. And that gets me to 18. And we'll lock this in place. Now we have our crosswalk. All right, and before I add this first section of road in, just kind of a tip that I've learned the hard way. When you're pairing up, my crosswalk is half on one base plate, and then the other half is on another base plate. So when I connect them together, it makes a nice wide crosswalk. You have to be careful that the bricks are going the same direction. Otherwise, your lines won't quite add up correctly. So just something to keep in mind when you're doing it. So in adding my road is 8 bricks deep per side. So I'm just going to add this road section in. Push it in place. And then I do, I guess here in the US, it's yellow midlines. So it's one yellow line, one gray line, and then another yellow line. And I'm not going all the way to the crosswalk because there's a small section of road between the stop line and the actual crosswalk. All right, so I'm going to add this line of road here. Just a stack of 1x1s. I didn't have any more of the 1x1x5s. And this can get a little fidgety when you're trying to connect all these different rows, but it's not too bad. Put that in place. And then we're going to put in our stop line. And since it's 8, we're doing a 1x2x3 and a 1x2x5. I thought it connected, but I forgot there's a little space up here. All right, now we can add our second half of road. And then the majority of this is done, other than the side of the road that anchors and our sidewalk. So for this last section, it's a white line and then a line of bluish gray tiles or plates. You want to use plates where it's anchoring to one of these female connectors, and then you can use tiles pretty much for everywhere else. And then, so this gets a little fidgety or a lot fidgety. That's anchored in, and then we'll just go ahead and add the rest of these plates. And I do find it easier to connect them to the female connectors and push it all down rather than trying to bend the bricks and get them to join in place. Sorry about that. And now you can push them all into place. And there you have your road. So essentially, for the other side, all we're doing is adding plates and tiles. And then we're doing another 2x2 slope curve to get up onto the sidewalk, and just have this whole row of plates and tiles, and we'll pop them down. And there you have your completed product. So hopefully this was helpful if you're looking to do this style of crosswalk or road. But if you have any further questions about it, let me know. I'll be glad to either answer your questions or do another tutorial. But for now, like, comment, and subscribe. All those help. But thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.